right about 6:15 here on a Thursday night. I'm Michael Cohen, and you're tuned into 1320 WILS. Thanks for joining us. So these millennials, they have so much on us. They're born into the internet age. They can text probably far better than us. But one thing we know that they don't have is the ability to talk on the phone very effectively. And to find out why that is and what anyone can do if they want to improve their skills on the phone, we're joined by Gail Goodman, communications expert, and find her online at phoneteacher.com. Gail, thank you for joining us on WILS.
Thank you for inviting me.
Great having you here. Now, how did you come to start this your website and teach people how to work effectively on the phone?
Well, I had been a trainer for a remodeling company, and we were very dependent on the phone because we did our presentations face-to-face in the home because we did kitchen refacing. So I became primarily a teacher of those who call to set an appointment because their sale is done on a face-to-face basis. But the challenge with millennials is happening in all of the industries that have direct salespeople because the phone is still an important part of creating relationships with clients.
What exactly is happening? Are they afraid to talk on the phone? Are they not good at it? What's the deal?
C, all the above. I think they don't talk on the phone a lot, therefore they're not good at it. But the other interesting perception they have of the phone is that it's an interruption, and they somewhat see the phone as rude to the person who you're trying to reach. Now, my argument to them is how can it be rude when everybody has the opportunity to ignore their phone? You could put it on vibrate, silent, let it go to voicemail. They see calling a person because it's convenient for you as a horrible interruption to that person's day.
Now, they're still pretty good with the email. Is there a different experience, and especially in sales, and being rejected via email versus someone doing it to you on the phone?
I think that nobody likes rejection, no matter how it comes, because I get emails where people say no, thank you, and I get just as upset as I do over the phone. The difference is, over the phone, when somebody says, we've decided we do not want a seminar, I now have the opportunity in real time to say, why is that? Because maybe I can learn something from why somebody says no to me. When you get an email, there's no conversation going on in real time. It's that real timeness, I think I just made up a word, that millennials are uncomfortable with.
Now, if you are someone that has a phobia about being on the phone, whether you're a millennial or not, how do you break the ice and begin to get into that?
Well, I think that people are afraid of sounding stupid on the phone. And so if you don't train them and you just expect them to come to you fully formed, able to do the phone calls that you need them to do for your business, then as the owner, I say shame on you. And the problem is that there isn't enough training that goes on about something that people assume, and we know what that word is made up of, that if you assume that these new employees have that skill, you're going to get in a pickle with them because they may have skills that are not applicable to your business or not exactly right for your business. And if they're constantly failing and they don't know why, eventually they will build up a neurosis about making the calls. And it doesn't have to be a millennial.
Give us some tips. What are the effective ways to communicate on the phone and to have an exchange even when you're being rejected?
Well, first of all, you have to practice. And I do a lot of role-playing with tons of people that I train, and people ask to role-play with me so that they can get feedback on the way that they sound. So when you role-play as a team and you sit the two people that are role-playing back-to-back, that's a good thing to do because you don't see people when you're on the phone, and role-playing face-to-face completely changes the communication. I also tell people who are afraid of the phone to visualize, or even better, put a photograph of a character, either an actor, an actress, or a particular character that you think is brave and bold but not rude.
And when you compare phone conversations to face-to-face, especially in a sales context, which do you consider more challenging?
The phone, of course, because we're missing a very big part of the communication that we're reading in the other person, which is the body language.
How do you make up for that in a conversation?
Oh, you got to be really good at the words. You got to be super good at your inflection and what you say. And unfortunately, because we all love face-to-face better, we have to work hard to realize the impact of each word you choose is 10 times more than when you have a physical face-to-face conversation.
The impact of the words 10 times more, you're saying, on the phone.
Easily.
Mm-hmm.
Easily.
So in terms of your inflections, give me some inflections that you're using to kind of be effective on the phone.
Well, I can tell you what I hate, because that's an easier one. There's a terrible common problem that is part of our society now. Everything lilts up at the end. So you want me to do a radio show? I'm more than happy to do that. And there's this kind of extension of vowels and this upticking of the voice, which makes everything that happens to be a sentence sound like a question.
Where does that come from?
If I knew, I'd kill it.
Mm-hmm. How do you get someone to break it?
You have to practice. You have to tell them that a sentence ends in a period, your voice has to drop, and you have to practice with them. Because people who've done that, it's a linguistic habit. And language habits and inflection habits are as hard to break as anything else, like smoking or biting your nails.
I notice you don't have any hesitation, stuttering. You don't use ums as you're talking. How do you avoid doing that?
I'm a professional speaker. I practiced my whole career not ever saying and even when I don't know what you're going to ask me.
Do you think those are incredibly detrimental things to have in your speech?
When you're trying to make a good impression over the phone and you're umming and erring because you're ad-libbing, and that means you're thinking, creating sentences, and saying them at the same time, you may come across as less confident and competent than you really are, because your language is all the other person is perceiving about you. So umming and erring is really deadly if you're trying to make a good impression.
And you're saying you've trained yourself over time to not do that out of force of will?
Well, some of it was practice. Some of it is because a lot of my answers are things that I've said hundreds of thousands of times, so that does help.
I see. Well, that certainly can be a factor. It's been insightful. Thank you so much. Gail Goodman, she is a communications expert. You can learn a lot more on her website, phoneteacher.com. Gail, thank you for joining us in WILS.
Thank you.